Hello and welcome back to the DC United Kingdom podcast. It is season 3. I know, I can't believe it. We're still here, and this is the first episode of the new season. And as you'll see, alongside me, I have got DC United midfielder Russell Canouse. Welcome back to the show. I believe this is your fourth appearance in total now.
I think so. I'm excited to be on, man, and congrats for the third season. It's
Thank,
exciting.
thank you very much. Before we really get into speaking with you, Russell, we've got to announce the giveaway to start off season 3. Why not start off with a bang? So,
Like,
DC United have very kindly offered to give away one of these jerseys. So, if you want to be in with a shout to win this, not this one in particular, because this is mine, but there will be another one to give away. All you need to do is send in a screenshot of you either listening to the podcast or watching this particular show. Email that over to dcunitedukfans@gmail.com. You should see the details in the description below. There will be bonus entries as well throughout the next week as the competition does close at Friday. But keep an eye out for that. And there you go. How's that for a start? Russell, it's been a while since you've been on. How have you been?
good. I don't know, when was the last time I was on? What time? I think early in the year, 2020.
It was, I think the last one was just after the Toronto game. Or was it just
Maybe that
after?
was the end of 2019. I don't know, but
It was at the
it,
MLS's back tournament. I know that much.
okay, yeah. Then it was middle of summer there
Yeah.
last year. Everything's good. It's been a long off season for me, obviously, as you know.
Yeah.
But we're excited to get going. I've been doing a lot of training on my own, just preparing for preseason whenever that date comes, which we finally got a couple of days ago, which is nice. But
Yeah.
I'm doing well. Yeah, spend a lot of time with family over the holidays and just yeah, itching to get back into it because it's been a while.
It has. And it just, I know I sent out a little tweet just with the gif of it's been 84 years, but that's how
Yeah,
it's going to feel when the new season actually eventually begins. I think it's April 3rd, from what I remember.
yeah. That's the
So,
tentative dates. Yep, they give out for sure.
yeah, so I can't wait for that to begin. It's been an exciting couple of weeks in terms of DC United, hasn't it? We've got new head coach, we've had the SuperDraft, we've got announcement of new training facilities, but we'll go through that in a little bit. But for you guys out there, if you're watching live, feel free to hit up in the chat. Angus, I know you're already there, so thank you for saying it is hype. It is awesome. Um, so towards the end of last year, we had, unfortunately, Ben Olsen was relieved of his duties. Then we had Chad come in as an interim head coach. But recently, we've had Hernan Lasada announced as our new head coach from Bearscott, is what I've seen as how it's pronounced. I don't want to say Beershot, but it's
Yeah.
Bearscott. Um, how's that been? Have you had many conversations with him so far?
Yeah.
How's his
So
first couple of weeks been?
um, obviously this is new for me since my time in DC. I've only been coached by Ben,
Yeah,
and Chad obviously the last month or two there. But he spoke to the team. We got introduced to him last week. Everyone had the chance to introduce themselves as well on that call. And I haven't had my individual meeting yet with him, but he's been going through and making sure he obviously with COVID, we can only do Zoom, and he's still in Europe, so we're doing some individual meetings here over the next week or two, just to get to know him and everything, his story, our story, just so we can have some type of relationship going into preseason. But I didn't have my individual meeting yet with him, but we had a good conversation. He spoke really well on the meeting with the full team, which was awesome. So
so, how was he given any snippets of way of style of play, or is that too soon to be going into right now?
no, he didn't go into too much detail. It was more so just about his career, how he ended up into coaching,
Yeah,
those types of things. Just, the relational stuff that you need to know before even getting into the tactics. But I'm assuming he'll probably start doing that at some point here. So we have at least a jump start before preseason starts. But I know from his side and the coaching side of it, he has to obviously get a feel for the players, watch a lot of games, have the conversations with us, and then see what fits with the guys we have. But um, I'm sure that's going to come, and I know he seems like a very tactical coach, which is going to be exciting to work with. Someone who has those types of philosophies.
Yeah.
So we're definitely excited. I think from a team standpoint.
Yeah, and when obviously been looking at his career so far, and the amount of goals that his team seems to score is just unbelievable. I think there was in this season in their team in their games they've had 92 goals
It's
for
crazy.
and against. It's just I
Yeah,
know
they're
they
wild teams.
yeah, and it's I know as traditionally we've not been sort of the highest goal scorers.
Yeah,
That's got to be something to be excited about, hasn't it?
yeah. I mean, I think obviously not last year, but back to 2019 as a club, like we had a very good balance, and we weren't forcing the most goals, but we had a decent amount of goals forced, and defensively we were very strong. So if we're able to get back to that balance and have solid defensive efforts while still being able to play that aggressive style and scoring a lot of goals, I think it's a good combination. Obviously,
Definitely, it's an exciting season for us. Let's put it
yeah.
that way. Um, I want to touch on things like this super draft. So, for everyone out there who is new to the club and new to Major League Soccer, the super draft consists of college players. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're correct. Go ahead.
Correct so far.
Yeah.
Who will then go into a draft system that will go into, I think it's called the combine.
So they do the combine before the draft.
Yes, and that's
Combine
where
is yeah. They get scouted through the combine and then go into the draft to obviously hopefully get selected by MLS teams.
yes, and we ended up picking up three players, and we had our first pick, which was the fourth pick overall in the Super Draft, was an Englishman it goes by the name of Kamani Smith. I was
Yes,
loving that.
Clemson guy, right? I
I
think he
was
went
just
to Clemson University.
yeah, originally from Nottingham, which was where Ben played.
Yeah,
The
that's awesome.
links are there, so that was nice to see. Then we ended up picking up the fifth pick overall, in which we picked up Michael DeShields, who now this is the confusing one for me because he signed a deal with New England Revolution 2 last year in the USL.
Yeah,
How is
but
that good? How does that work? If you're able to explain what goes on in that side of things.
I think like if he was drafted um, by DC United, like we could get his rights by doing that. Uh, don't not sure that's 100% correct, but there was
Yeah.
a way like if we ended up drafting him, then his rights obviously became DC United's. But I think he's actually a somewhat local guy. I think he's a Maryland
Yes.
guy. So
Yeah, I think
uh,
when I looked him up, I think he's from Baltimore.
yeah, Baltimore, Maryland. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's local to you know the club. I think he's probably pretty familiar with DC.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
And then the last pick that we had, which was the 32nd pick overall, which was Logan Pancho or Pancho. I'm not sure how I'm pronouncing the last name if I'm doing that correctly.
I'm not
Um,
even gonna try.
you might have to try once if he starts playing with you, or you could just call him Logan.
I'll call him Logan.
Yeah, why not? Um, and that was our super draft, and that was I love watching them. I think it's so entertaining because it's nothing like you get over here in the UK or even in
Yeah,
Europe.
completely different. I mean,
It's
that's the old U.S. sports league
yeah,
kicking in there, like NFL, because obviously the old like it used to be go to college and then sign a professional contract. Now it's you have some going the route of college, some signing early, some going to Europe. So there's a whole bunch of different avenues now. So,
yeah,
but it's good for these guys. I mean, that they get a chance to come up. I'm excited to meet them and mentor them and help them in any way possible. I went the opposite route. I went to Europe, but um, I think there's been enough guys in this league that have done really well that went to college. So
yeah,
all three of them are from big schools too in the U.S., which is cool, which is good.
yes. And I think for what you were rightly saying, coming through the super draft, just names off the top of my head throughout the league. You got Frankie Amaya recently, who was first pick in 2019. I think he went to Cincinnati.
Yes, yeah.
Um, Daryl DK from who plays for Orlando. Just a couple of names just off the top of my head there who've done really well coming through the SuperDraft. Um,
Yeah.
Back to DC though, we've had, and it's always been in the plan since we've had Audi Field, the new training facilities. They're coming through this summer, from what I've seen. How excited are you to get to see that, but also have that as your main base going forward?
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be good for this club to have kind of a home base. I mean, we're training at Audi Field right now. At times we move between facilities. It's a different experience, day to day when you have a place you can go to and call home. And it's also separate from the stadium because the game day experience becomes that much more special too, which I think is important.
Yeah,
Because this 2020, we were in the locker rooms at Audi.
yeah,
Not to say it wasn't special going to the stadium, it absolutely was, but there's a different feeling than when you have you're going there once a week and you have games. But I'm super excited. I also moved out closer to this area to Leesburg, where the training site is going to be built. So I'm excited for that. I'll probably have to commute here the first couple months into DC, which I'm not excited about, but at the same time, I'm really excited that I'm going to be closer once it is built, and
yeah.
because I'm a guy, I don't like to be sitting in the car too much going to and from training. So
No.
that's exciting. I think it's an awesome step for the club.
So, how far? Because the UK is a very small nation island. What is the distance between the training facility and Audi Field in terms of if you're traveling by car? How long would it actually take?
If you're going Audi, it'd probably be like 50 minutes to an hour. So
Okay.
like 30, 35 miles. I, I don't know the exact distance off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
it's anywhere from 45 to an hour, probably distance wise.
Flipping heck. And that's just
Yeah.
for training.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. If you're at Audi Field, right?
Yeah. I
For
mean,
me,
that's.
I mean, there's a lot of different pockets in Northern Virginia that guys can live. I mean, you can even live Bethesda area, but it's Northern Virginia. You can then be between both the stadium and the training center.
Yeah.
It'll also be good. I didn't say this, but it'll also be good to have the academy and the Washington Spirit bringing all the teams together. I think it's
Yeah.
also like my experience in Germany. I always liked having the link to the first team and just being able to see those guys. Maybe you're not in the same part of the building, but you're close enough that you can aspire to be a professional athlete. So I like that that idea is going to be incorporated.
And just going on that, I would imagine if you're a youngster coming through the ranks and you're seeing the likes of yourself and all the fellow professionals, and you can actually then just watch as well, and you can learn from that aspect. Whilst
Yeah,
before you
absolutely.
wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, for sure. You
Yeah.
see, you just see what your goals are and getting to that point. So it's also great seeing like the younger guys that came up through the academy being with the first team too. So
Yeah.
it's all good examples.
So season beginning April 3rd. How excited are you to get back on the field and taking on fellow MLS teams?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm super excited, super ready to get going. It's been a while. I mean, this is probably the longest off season I've been a part of.
Yeah.
So, um, hopefully guys have done a good job of maintaining their fitness, following the plan, so we can all come in ready and be a team that changes and gets back to where we were at in the previous years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And
definitely
th-
excited.
and then that preseason, how hard is that going to be for you? Because you've had this super long off season. Are you going to be sweating buckets on that first day when you get back into training?
Definitely. I mean, I think for me, I've always that's been a priority for mine, just to have a good conditioning base going into preseason, so I can um, not I wouldn't say have a head start, but definitely have a good foundation once it starts. So
Yeah.
there's less risk of injury and stuff. So I feel pretty fit currently, but it's not. It's different than when you're training on your own or in small groups. When you get into changing direction, trying to defend, attack, transition quick. It's a completely different animal. So it's going to take time, but obviously we have six weeks. Maybe we should technically have a little bit more, but we from the collective bargaining agreement and what everything goes on with that, it's a 6 week preseason. So, but with this long off season, it's definitely going to be difficult.
Yes, and then even then, from going off what happened last year, obviously with the pandemic and how training was affected, I know this is obviously still a little bit ahead in the future, but do you know if the training is still going to be affected in terms of how many players you can be training with, and having
I
contacts
don't
and
think
things like that?
so. I don't think it's going to be affected that much. I mean, we're going to still be in testing protocols and have our bubble probably throughout this year, but towards the end of last year that kind of changed. That went back to, once a guy tests positive, team takes off. It does
Yep.
interrupt the training schedule a little bit, but our club and our team staff, everyone involved was very careful, and we were able to do that. With that said, last year, obviously, with the MLS's back, the short preparation time, and then the big break between the rest of the regular season and the tournament, like it,
Yeah.
that did not help us because we had just an up and down flow throughout the year, and obviously led to a lot of injuries. Because
Yeah.
it's not a consistent training protocol. But hopefully, we can get a consistent string of games in where we can find our form, because I think last year we did find our form late. Obviously, it was sadly after the coaching change, but we also were able to finally get a little healthy and find our form with the string of games. So that's important for any season.
Yeah, definitely. And just to touch on obviously the back end of last season, it was, I think the form obviously, yes, it did coincide with the coaching change, but I think it also coincided with the fact that we were playing regular games as well. So you were starting to find your feet. The chemistry was building, and you were getting used to each other's play. Granted, we had a few injuries, but it was nice to see that we ended up scoring quite a few goals, and we only lost out on the last game of the season, which after the MLS is backed on, if you said to any DC United fan we had a chance of making the playoffs, they would have. I think they would have bitten your hand off at that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a difficult season for sure from all sides, fans, players. Just where we ended up, like there was a little positivity and optimism towards the end there, and
Yeah,
it was a great run we went on. And it was sad we couldn't actually pull it through with that last game. Um, but we
it is
got
what it is.
2021. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a new season. It's a new start, new
Yeah,
era for the club. Um, things can only look up, and the deals that have been happening. So COA, so Chris has signed a new deal. Felipe has re-signed. We've got the new coach. It just feels like there's a lot of positivity coming out from the club during this off season, and that's what we'd like to see. And it's put me in a huge positive mindset going into 2021. So long this may continue, and I'm ready for 2021. Let's put it that way. Let's forget
definitely.
about 2020. It was one of those years where I don't think we'll ever have another year like
There
it.
were so many factors that went into 2020.
Yeah,
It was one of the most difficult seasons of my career. Not the on the field stuff. It was all the off the field stuff that
yeah,
we had to deal with. So, and I think, even more so for a lot of the players that had families and they were, you know, I mean, I have family, but obviously kids they're dealing with it. It was a difficult year. So
yeah,
obviously this year we're still adjusting to the new normal. We still have a lot of the same things, but I think, with like I said, with the normal preparation, a normal schedule, you can get into a rhythm and hopefully have a successful season. And hopefully we can do that as a club as well.
yeah, absolutely. Right. So last season, I introduced a little theme when I had players on, going through what's called getting to know DCU. So
Oh
even
yeah.
though
Yep.
you were on for 3 times last season, we never actually got around to doing it with you. So we're going to start off with this. So for those who, again, like I said earlier on in the show, are new to the club, Russell Canouse, you've been with us since 2017 now. I think it was
Yep.
midway through there.
Yeah. Yep.
So you've been with us. This is your fourth
Technically my
season,
fifth season.
fifth season. Flipping
Yeah.
neck,
3.5 years with the club, fifth season. So
veteran
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So so the first
Crazy
question,
how the time flies, honestly.
it is mental, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Yep.
So the first question on this list to getting to know DCU is, how long have you been a professional soccer player for?
I've been a pro for probably 7 years now.
So
7 years.
that would have been, you would have signed what, when you were
18.
18.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. And then, as you've already mentioned, that you played in Europe to start off with. Who was that for?
I played for a club called TSG Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga. Went there when I was 15 years old, and I spent about 6.5 years at that club.
It's a good amount of
A
time
long
to,
time, yeah,
yeah. You don't get that a lot these days, where you spend a huge amount of time at clubs. You tend to see players going to and fro between different clubs quite often, and sometimes between rivals as well, which is just
yeah. I
weird.
mean that obviously I was in the academy, so I went through their academy system,
Yeah,
17, 19s, reserves, first team. So that obviously was part of the process and pathway to the first team. So, but it was a
yeah.
great club, awesome people, small, very small village. If
Is
you
it?
didn't know,
No, I
yeah,
did not know that.
Hoffenheim is a very tiny village. And then the big city near it is Heidelberg. There's an hour. Hoffenheim's like an hour south of Frankfurt, hour north of Stuttgart. So,
There you
but
go.
yeah,
That's good. That's nice little lessons right there. Learning every day. Um, Angus has just popped up on the chat, just saying he believes you joined in the same window as Paul Ariola.
yep. Paul and I joined probably 3 or 4 days apart. August 2017 we joined. And Paul actually signed on deadline day, and I signed like 2 or 3 days before that. So pretty
So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and if I remember rightly, where we had a sort of a slow start to that year, and then when you two signed, it suddenly became good. So
Yeah. We didn't have that
was
many
it just
games.
you? Was it you?
I'll say it's because of Paul. No,
You're gonna blow his trumpet.
when we signed, I think we only had 10 or 11 games left. But we did start to get some results there, which was cool. And it
Yeah,
was awesome for me personally growing up and going to DC United games. It was really cool playing at RFK and then having the transition then the following year into Audi.
yes, and to play alongside Wayne Rooney as well.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
that must have been something else. But
Yeah.
he's
But
not
he
the only.
wasn't there in 2017. He didn't get to play in the legendary RFK stadium.
No, he didn't see the bouncing seats
No.
and the bouncing stands.
That would have been cool. Have him RFK with it would have been probably dangerous with the stands, but
Oh,
have
I
that
would have loved to
stadium
have
back.
seen that. That would have been brilliant. But what I was going to say was Wayne Rooney's not really the only big name player you've actually managed to play with. I think there was someone else at Hoffenheim who now plays for Liverpool. And I remember this from the last conversation we had.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that conversation.
Yes.
Firmino was at Hoffenheim when I was there, and he was. I think he signed at Hoffenheim when he was 18 with the first team, and I was still like in the academy. I was younger, but then obviously he went through the ranks, and then I was able to train with him multiple times with the first team. So
Yeah.
definitely unbelievable player. He's awesome.
He is. I know he gets criticised quite a lot for not being the out and out striker, but
Yeah, he does
Liv-
so much on the field that goes unnoticed though.
yeah,
So
you can tell there's a difference between when he's
yeah,
not playing and when he's playing. Let's put it
yeah.
that way. Um, so next question, which was going to be how long have you been at DC United for, but we've already answered that. So we're going to move on to, obviously you've been here since 2017. What makes DC United so special?
I mean, I think for me it's a little bit more personal, just because I grew up watching the club and coming down to games. I think that's what for me makes it a more personal experience. But I think just if you look at the club in general, you can always go back on the tradition of the club. And obviously the 4 MLS Cups and everything that went into that, the former players. Yep, you see the
Yep.
stars in the
Yep.
jersey. But I think that's what sets this club definitely apart, and it's in the nation's capital, which is really cool. Like you,
Yeah.
if yeah, I mean, I think if you're around the world and you think, oh, well, I'm part of a club that is in the capital of the United States, I think that's definitely a special occasion. And the
It,
living around here, it's been awesome to be able to get to experience that, good and bad. It's like obviously there's a lot going on from a political
yes.
side, but it's really cool to be in the nation's capital.
Yeah. We won't touch the political side. I'm not going down that
Yeah,
road. Let's put it that way.
definitely. That's,
No. So let's move on to the next question, which is your squad number 4. Is that a number that you've picked? And if so, why have you picked that number?
Number 4 was my first professional number when it was really my second professional number because when I had my debut with Hoffenheim, I had 36. Um, but number 4, when I went on loan at Bochum, that was one of the only numbers available. That number and some higher numbers, and I decided to go with it. And then it was available when I signed with DC, so I decided to stick with it. Um, I've been thinking about changing my number, but I
Oh,
will not. I will not release anything yet.
oh, oh! So when those numbers get released, we might not see you at number 4 anymore.
Maybe not.
Oh, oh, that's interesting.
We'll
Because
leave it
I
at that.
think so I've seen on social media on DC's Twitter when they announced Felipe had resigned, they changed his number to number 8 now.
Yeah.
Because that's his number. I remember him saying that. So, ooh, I wonder if there's going to be any other changes. Will Bill go to number 1?
No, I don't think so.
Nah, nah. Yeah, I'm sure he'd stick with where he is. He
Yeah.
always seems to be in the number. Is it 24?
Yeah, I think so.
24.
Yeah, 24.
So the next lot. Obviously, we've already spoken about you playing alongside Wayne Rooney and Bobby Firmino. But if you could play alongside anyone else, past or present, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, I mean, I think the obvious choice for me is probably Cristiano. I think that would be pretty cool, just
Yeah,
from like what he's achieved and him. Obviously, all the stories as him as a professional. I think that's pretty cool. I think someone in my position who I'd probably want to learn from, and because I'm a Manchester United fan, it would probably be Paul Scholes.
I think I remember you mentioned we talked
Yeah,
about Paul Scholes, haven't we?
yeah. I think that would be someone who would probably the second choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's he was a
You like
cracking
those
player.
choices?
I do
Those
like those
good
choices. I
choices?
mean,
Yeah,
they're very Man United related,
yeah.
but yeah,
Obviously.
you've got to give credit. Obviously, Cristiano, he's one of those players you either love him or you hate him,
Yeah.
but you can't argue with his stats. Let's put it that way. And some of the
Definitely.
goals he scores are just out of this world. I mean,
Yeah.
the free kicks that he takes, the overhead kicks, the fact that he's great in the air as well. It it
Yeah,
makes
I
me
mean,
sick a
just him
little
as a
bit.
professional athlete, like the amount of work he puts in
Yeah,
to maintain that level too. It's not just like he had 2, 3 good years. It's he's been at the top forever. It's
yeah,
incredible. Same with
and
Messi. I mean, you have the Messi argument too, but
yeah,
I mean, I personally am just as a fan
yeah,
with Manchester United as well. I think Ronaldo would probably be the guy I'd like to.
yeah. I think the one positive that you could have with Ronaldo over Messi is the fact that Ronaldo's done it in different countries as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Whilst
want to get into arguments like that, who's better? That's definitely the pro Ronaldo argument. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know who.
yeah,
You can prefer one or the other. It doesn't.
you can.
I think the case is there
Everyone's
for both.
allowed their own opinion, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Indeed. Right. So this next question is all around six-a-side. So if you could pick anyone in the world to be in your six-a-side team, who would you have in? So
Do
we're
I need
looking
a
at.
goalie? I need a goalie, right?
So you need a goalie. Well,
Okay.
generally speaking, we've had two defenders, one midfielder, and two attackers. Or you can go with your own combination, but that's generally been the running theme with it.
Mano Neuer in his
Yeah,
prime. You said two defenders?
two defenders. Yep,
Two defenders, one midfielder, two forwards.
spot
Um, man, you really put me on the spot here.
on.
Trying to like think here. Uh, give me Ronaldo and Messi up top. Why not? Um,
Now, would you in midfield? Would you have a holding midfielder, or would you have someone like a box-to-box midfielder?
I think like if you're just playing one midfielder, you need a holding midfielder.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if he. Trying to think who I'd want to put in the holding midfielder role. Um, maybe a guy like Casemiro or something.
that could work.
Different one.
That could work.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's just go with
Let's
him.
let let let's go with him. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then your defenders. Who are they going to be? Are they going to be the classic Van Dijk and Ramos, or is it going to be someone a little bit more controversial?
I think I want Ramos on my team just because he's a winner.
Ooh.
What do you mean more commercial? Who are you thinking?
Commercial wise, who generally sells? I mean, Van Dijk sells a lot of shirts,
Yeah.
but he's a bit injured at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, but then saying that you could use from his prime from
I'd
last
probably want to
season.
go with Kimmich.
Oh,
And I
okay.
know he's a midfielder, but I'm saying this because he'll give you some tactical ability to like
Yeah,
move into midfield defender and pair him with Ramos. And then you can have Casemiro come in between them, whatever.
I like that.
That's my team right there.
There we go. Oh, look, that's not bad. That's a nice little change from the standard
It's not
answers
your
that I've
like
had
usual
so far.
team. There's a little untraditional picks there.
Yeah, I mean
So
you've had the traditional Messi and
yeah,
Ronaldo
the
up top,
top
but
two.
we'll
You gotta include them.
yeah, you have to. I was half expecting maybe it's like an Mbappe or a Neymar in there, but no, you've managed to
Mbappe,
avoid it.
give Ronaldo 2 more years. I'd probably throw Mbappe in there. It's
Yeah, but then saying that Ronaldo would probably still be able to do it.
probably.
Yeah, I don't know when he's going to retire. It doesn't feel like he'll ever will. Um, so moving on from that, what made you go down the career path of being a pro soccer player?
I think gradually you just transition into it. I mean, in seventh grade, I had to make a choice. I was a basketball player growing up. Um,
Okay,
yeah, I was pretty good. I was never very good at shooting, but I was a good dribbler, defender, passing. Um, kind of similar to the way I play soccer, to be honest. But anyway, I got into the U14 national team,
oh wow,
and I was starting to miss practices when I was younger. So the coach was like, "Well, you're not gonna be able to play that much if you're missing practice." I was like, "All right, well then I'll just go with soccer." So long story short, ended up going soccer. I mean, once you get year after year, like you just around that time, I made it my goal to become a professional athlete, professional soccer player specifically, and I think for me, it was just getting into that mindset year after year, just doing work and enjoying it. Like I love to be able to train. I loved going on runs, working on my technical ability, like doing all these different things that kind of just followed the pattern that you needed to do to be able to become a professional athlete. And a
yeah,
lot of guys I played with kind of, fell off at some point. Maybe they weren't training as much. Who knows what they were doing outside soccer, but I was always just really focused on it, and yeah, it just kind of became my life and something I wanted to pursue. So, and when I want to pursue something, I do it with full commitment. So it's
yeah.
pretty. It's been a long thing, and even to this day, like I don't take any time I step on the field for granted. So um,
It's it.
I guess that's a long answer to your question, but
I like it. I like it. So Outside of soccer, though,
Yeah,
what hobbies do you have? I know you've got a little pooch, which you kindly
yeah.
introduced me to before the show.
She moved. She was sitting up here with me, but she moved. I don't
Oh,
know where she went. But yeah, I
but
mean,
yeah, what do
I
you do
love
outside?
outside. Yeah, I mean, I love spending time with my wife, Erica. We have a French bulldog, Lola. I'm actually pretty close to where I grew up, 2 hour drive. So every once in a while, when we have free weekends or like the holidays, for example, I was able to go home, spend time with them, which is, you know, mainly my hobbies, right, are spending time with family and teammates as well. So
Yeah,
I think obviously, like I like doing business stuff, outside the
yeah,
game. That interests me. I'd say that's almost a hobby too, just because I like to use my time, when I'm not playing, when I'm recovering, to do some of those things. But um, just watching TV, reading books. I'm trying to take up golf maybe.
yes,
I'm
yes. I
not
know.
trying to do it too much during the season, but I'd like to like learn a little bit,
Yeah,
casually go every once in a while. So
yeah, because you've got some pretty good teammates in terms of the golfing side. So I know Julian's pretty decent.
Gressel is almost a pro at golf, and then Steve's pretty good. Sights can hang. So there's quite a few guys for sure.
Yeah.
Paul actually is decent golfer. He doesn't tell
Okay.
anyone he's a decent golfer. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, whenever if I ever manage to get him on, we'll have to ask him about that.
yeah.
Um, so let's have a little look. So one thing I did want to ask, because I know following you on Instagram, you've been known to show a few clips of you cooking.
Yeah.
What
I do.
is your?
I do. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what is your go-to meal that you know if you're going to cook it, you're going to nail it every time?
I mean, the one I make most often, the one I like to eat before pregame, which you're getting a little secret here. No, it's not
Oh,
a
okay.
secret, but uh, is teriyaki salmon with rice and Brussels sprouts. I love that.
Oh,
So I could easily nail that one. It's actually sesame teriyaki salmon. I could nail
okay.
that one, no problem. But I like cooking a lot, as you said. I mean, my wife works really hard. Comes home. I get home early. With our hours as an athlete, but I always have like cooking and always have it ready for her when she comes home. So um, that's just one example. I like a lot of things. I actually like going to Aldi because I can get some of the German ingredients too. So
Yes.
that pretty exciting. But yeah, that would probably be my go-to meal.
And Aldi, quite a big supermarket chain over here. So I know where
Yeah,
you're coming from on that one.
yeah,
They do some really good stuff in there. I don't know, obviously, how different it is out there, but
yeah. I
they're
think it's a little different, each country you go in, but
yeah, good value as well.
definitely,
Really good
yep,
value.
I love that.
So we're staying keeping away from the soccer things at the moment. So our next question into you is: if you were stranded on a desert island and you only had one album to listen to whilst you were there, what album would that
Ooh.
be?
Uh, I'd probably go
That
with. I'm trying to think of the album name. Can I give you an artist?
you can, yeah. Let's go with that.
I'd probably and if I was like stranded on one island, what artist would I want to listen to his music? I'd probably go with John Mayer, which is
Okay,
a different
nice,
one. Yeah,
nice.
that's why my mom used to listen to that growing up. I've listened to his. He's got different types of music and stuff. So
Yeah, I know. I've got a
that,
couple of friends who've been to see him live a few times. So
yeah, I need it. That's one of my things. I'd like to go see him live for sure.
yeah,
It'd be cool.
I can't wait to go back to gigs again. That's
Yeah,
something that we've definitely missed over the last 12 months. It's gigs, live sports, and just being out and about with friends and family. It's
yeah.
I can't wait to get back to that. So last question in this little section that we've got, because there's two more sections after this. What is one thing that fans wouldn't know about you?
Wouldn't know about me.
Wouldn't know about you, yeah. So what's one little secret that you're allowed to give?
Um, I don't know if they would know, but I'm fluent in German.
Fully fluent.
Yeah,
Because I know Claudia mentioned about you and Julian speaking on the field in German.
yeah.
And in the game
I
against
don't think that's ever
Atlanta,
been like out that the fans know that, but I'm fluent in German, so
there
that's
we go.
cool, I guess.
I think a little task for the fans, for the Barra Brava and Screaming Eagles and all them, is to come up with a German chant for you then.
I would love that.
Let's see
That
if
may
we can
be
get that
hard
going.
to pronounce though, but
Oh,
that would be
we
really
need
cool.
to get that happening. A German chant for you, Russ. That would be.
Hey, you got to lead it then.
I will try my best.
Alrighty,
I will make some contacts and see what we can do.
cool, cool.
So we've got some quick fire questions now. So around these, they are this or that. So you get to two options and you got to choose one of them. And the first one, we've already spoken about these two, but and I think I know what your answer is going to be. Actually, I don't think I know what your answer is going to be. Ronaldo or Messi?
Yeah, yeah. What's
Yeah,
my answer?
it's Ronaldo in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So next question, quick fire, is: would you rather beat the Red Bulls or win MLS Cup?
Win MLS Cup, definitely.
No.
Because we're gonna beat the Red Bulls then on the way to MLS Cup. So
Yes. That's the answer we were looking for. Um, typically, would you call it soccer or would you call it football?
soccer, just because I'm American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then would you typically call it a shutout or a clean sheet?
I'm more along the clean sheet line there, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to be fair, everyone I've asked has said clean sheet. I don't think
Okay.
anyone said shutout. So
Yeah. I feel like that's more of a goalkeeper term. I don't know. Like I
yeah,
had a shutout, you know? Like
yeah, it's a strange one. I've only ever come across it when I've been watching DC United and any other MLS team. But shutout is just it just doesn't seem right to me
yeah.
at all. Um, the last question in the quickfire round is: do you prefer Dave Johnson or Devon McTavish?
Oh, I don't know if I can answer that one. I don't want to make either of them mad, so I'm gonna defer.
Fair. Now imagine how Claudia
They're
felt
both
when I
awesome
asked
though.
her that question. Now that she has to work with him every day. No, she did
Yeah,
not like that one.
that's bad. Definitely not.
So we come up to my favourite round, which is the teammates round.
Yeah.
So we get to know your teammates a little bit more without them being here. So, to you, who has got the worst taste in music?
Hmm. Oh man, there's only so many guys that go on the, play the music.
Yeah,
I won't say any of the Spanish guys because I like the Spanish music.
fair.
I actually get a lot of hate that I play the Spanish music all the time. But
Oh, right.
yeah,
Rude.
I'll probably say Sorga, and I know he's gotten a lot of crap on this podcast, but he probably listens to some Estonian like music that is definitely not great for my ears. So
Oh, bless him. I
sorry,
feel
Eric.
like he's going to get even more crap very over this
Yeah,
year as well. Bless him.
don't ask
So,
me a style question either.
oh yeah, I mean, I can't wait for that one. Um,
Yeah.
so who's the biggest jug? Who's the funniest guy in the dressing room?
Mm, I mean, I think I probably say for me, and maybe not everyone disagrees, but this is obviously my opinion, so I'm gonna say
Yeah,
Birnbaum.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a different sense of humor, but I get
Fair
along
enough.
quite well with his humor.
Is it like a dry or a sarcastic kind of humor, or is
Yeah,
it
yeah, exactly. Yep.
nice? I could get along with that.
Yeah.
And my favorite question. and I hope you're going to say the answer that everyone else has said. Who's got the worst
I mean,
fashion sense?
yeah, I know Sorga, Eric
I,
Sorga. I mean,
oh, I mean, he doesn't help himself.
it's. I'm just gonna say his name, nothing else, and and a quick apology. I should have given you someone else. I mean, who else?
Yeah. Who else?
Griffin Yao is questionable sometimes. I hope he's listening to this.
I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, some of the things that I've seen over on again on social media with his dress sense, it's
Some
he
of
wears a lot.
his shoe wear is questionable in my opinion.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
a big part.
indeed. Um, and we're gonna go end on the last question in this round, which is what's been kind of the most embarrassing thing to have happened in the locker room.
Embarrassing things. Oh, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. And
I like these tough ones. They're good.
yeah, I mean, even it's hard because like I just have 2020 in my head right now. And
Yeah,
2020, like us spread out in locker rooms, it was like we were separated, obviously because of the social distancing.
yeah. That must have been bit of a weird transition and weird adjustment to get used to.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't the best, but
Got to
I
do
don't
what you
know.
got to do.
I'm gonna pass on that one. I'm sorry.
That's all
No,
right. No offense
I'll
taken.
I'll,
It's fine.
I'll let you know when I come up with that.
Fair. I know. I will announce that over on Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, we've got a couple of fan questions come in the build up to this and during the chat as well. One question that came in was from Dan Wise, which was, "What's your personal focus for the season, and where do you think you need to improve?"
Personal focus for the season. I mean, I think team wise, we obviously, we want to get back into a winning position, get into the playoffs and have just a more successful season. Obviously, it's easy to say MLS Cup, but I think, the first step is they're getting into the playoffs and then taking it from there.
Yeah,
From personal improvement, I mean, it was 2020 was a little difficult just from me bouncing around different positions, trying to fill in with injuries and so
yeah,
forth. So, if I'm playing in the holding mid role, I'd like to probably, um, work on the attacking piece just a tad more. But that's probably,
fair.
yeah,
Fair. I know,
yeah.
but you managed to score last season,
Yeah, but
which
I want to be able. It depends what role I'm in, honestly. I mean,
yeah,
there's different improvements in each role, so it's kind of difficult to answer. Like if I'm playing an outside back, I'm gonna say something different. So
fair point, fair point. And I know earlier on you said on the show that you've not had your one-to-one conversation with Lasada just yet, but when you do have that conversation, are you going to be able to put across that you want to continue just in the holding midfield role, or are you going to be continuing where I know in the past you said that you are do what's right for the team?
yeah, I mean, at some point, right? Like that's what it was last year. What's right for the team, but it's also where I prefer to, and if the coach is supporting me in that role, then um, definitely definitely will want to bring that up. But
Yeah,
I'm sure that's going to come up on the conversation. He's probably watched and scouted a lot of the games. So yeah, definitely. I'm still going to say I prefer the holding midfielder because that's what
yeah,
I've grown up playing. The whole academy system over in Germany with the youth national teams as well. So, that's the position I've known my whole career really. But I'm always, like you said, I'm always open to finding a way to get on the field and help the team, whichever way that is. But
yeah.
I definitely prefer being in the middle and leading the team from the center of the field.
Cool. And we've got one last question,
Yep.
which is before we come to a nice little end. Um, what is the typical training day like? I know it's been a while since you've probably had one, but what normally happens on a training day?
So a COVID training day or a normal one? Probably a COVID one, right?
Yeah,
The
let's go with
COVID
COVID.
one, we
That's more.
that's more relevant right now.
Yeah,
So we get in probably 7:30 to 9. Normally during the season we have like selected times that we have to, like, 3 or 4 guys come in and test at this time, 10 minutes later this time. So we
yeah,
come
makes
in, we
sense.
test, get down in the locker room. Obviously, any treatments I need, I go down directly in the locker room. I get there a little bit earlier usually, so I can eat breakfast at the facility,
Okay.
and then we probably have about an hour and a half till we start training. So normally you go in, get treatments, hot tub, warm up the muscles, stretch, foam roll. Some guys like to get into a lift before practice. I'm usually not that. I don't prefer that. Um, and then we have our meetings normally around 10 o'clock, depending on how long they go with scouting for the opponent, reviewing tactical stuff from our side, training, and then we go out and train hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, Come back in. Then that's, you look at doing your lift or more recovery, showering, eating lunch, and then you're kind of out of the facility around 1 to 2. Some guys rush out, some guys stay longer, so it all depends.
Fair dues. That's
Yep.
that's a good insight to what a training day is like. So obviously that's COVID. Once we're out of this pandemic, what would be a training day like? Obviously, you then all, I'd imagine,
I think it's
all
pretty
arrive
similar.
together.
Yeah, I mean, there's just the only thing that probably changes with a normal training day is there's a range that you can arrive in. Now it's a
Yeah,
little bit more time wise, so obviously the protocols stay in place.
yeah,
If you figure out, if you get a positive test, then you find out, then you don't show up that day. You just show up later and then test while everyone's already down in the locker room. So, but the
yeah,
normal, it's you just get a range like 7 to 9 treatments, 7 to 8 treatments, report time by 9. Those types of things.
yeah.
You'll see how it changes with Hernan, but most clubs I've been at, that's pretty similar. I mean, the schedule changes a little bit. Sometimes double day, sometimes not, but it all depends how the coach wants it done.
Absolutely. Well, there we go. We've come to a nice little end there. Thank you,
Yep,
Russell, for coming on and joining me on the first episode of this new season.
no
It's been
problem.
an absolute pleasure to have you on and actually get to do the getting to know DCU questions with you
Yeah,
now.
there we go.
Um, and just to end, obviously, don't forget the giveaway. Send in that screenshot or a photo of you. I know that's what some people did on the last giveaway. Of you listening to the show, whether it's this episode or a previous episode, send it in to dcunitedukfans@gmail.com and keep an eye out on social media for those bonus entry opportunities. Draw will be made probably next weekend. I don't want to give a firm date, but the polls close at 1 p.m. GMT next Friday, which is the 5th of Feb. So that is it. It's been a while since I've had to end it. I don't want to end it because I've thoroughly enjoyed this episode. But until
Well,
next,
yeah,
oh
I'll see you in 2021 sometime here.
yeah, absolutely.
Congrats again
That's.
on your third season, man. That's
Thank you
awesome.
very much.
Definitely
Um,
appreciate it as a player too, the
oh,
support.
well,
So,
thank you. That genuinely does mean a lot
yeah.
to hear that. That. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's end it. Until next time. Hang on, I need to click a button before we can do this. I've got a got a little ending theme song for you guys out there. Until next time, Vamos United.